Welcome to World of Diecast Car Channel.
Herbert Austin, the manager of the Voltaire Company, which produced sheep fur trimming machines in the 1890s, and who was also an engineer, was not satisfied with the periodic sales of the machines they produced. Austin was looking to make the transition to a different area where there was regular demand. 10 years ago, after the German Musette car Petrol invented the world's first car with an internal combustion engine, many companies in Europe began to produce cars. Realizing that there is a great potential in this industry, Austin decides to develop his own car. Austin, who worked for this in his own workshop in his spare time left by the company, managed to develop his first car in 1899 at the end of 4 years. Although Austin wants the car he has developed to be produced at the company he works for, his boss rejects his offer, saying that the car is a non-profit sector. After that, Herbert founded his own company called Austin Motors and started manufacturing cars. By the year 1905, Austin Motors had become the largest automobile manufacturer in England. The company offers a wide range from 10-15 horsepower economy models to 60 horsepower luxury models. Austin's luxury cars are used by dukes and princes. When we come to the year 1912 from the production line, more than 1,000 cars start to come out. In 1914, 1. When World War II began, Austin concentrated on the production of aircraft, heavy weapons, and trucks for the British Army. After the war, when Europe was experiencing a serious economic crisis, the purchasing power of the people fell. For this reason, many European manufacturers sell small, cheap cars that large audiences can buy. After the war, Austin decided to follow the same strategy and put the Austin 7 on sale in 1923. When this small car is in high demand in a short time, it starts to be produced under license in France and America. BMW, which also produces aircraft engines and motorcycles, decided to produce cars when he buys the license for the Austin 7 and starts producing it under the name BMW Dixie, as BMW's first car. Also, in April 1932, Austin 7 Rabi begins to produce under license. The Austin 7 sells 290,000 units in 16 years. In 1912, bicycle manufacturer William Morris decided to enter the rapidly growing automobile industry. William, who designed the Oxford, the first automobile, founded the Morris Motor Company. The engines and axles are exported from America. Morris becomes the first British manufacturer to enter mass production by implementing the moving assembly line developed by Ford for the first time in 1922. In 1924, the British manufacturer, which became an annual car manufacturer of 120,000 units, overtakes Ford and becomes the leading manufacturer in the UK Sunday. Of course, it would also be very effective if the UK government, which wants to protect its domestic manufacturers, levies a threefold tax on Ford cars. Morris launched the Morris Minor with only an 850cc engine in 1928 to compete with Austin's popular model Austin 7 in the small economy car Sunday. The vehicle shows a significant success by making more than 80,000 sales in 6 years. The model was replaced by the Morris 8 in 1935. While the car was on sale for about the same price as its competitor, the Austin 7, it was much better equipped with a console full of indicators, hydraulic brakes, and electric wipers. In 1932, the Morris factory was the largest automobile factory in Europe. In addition, Morris grows further by adding 2 small British manufacturers, Riley Motors and MGE, to its structure in 1935. In Europe. When it became clear that World War II was inevitable, Morris signed a contract with the government to produce fighter aircraft for the British Army. However, the company fails to produce aircraft. When Morris's main factory was badly damaged in the German bombardment, the factory could only produce millions of fuel tanks. After the war, Austin started automobile production again in 1946. The 1 millionth car comes off the production line. After the war, there was a great economic depression in England and Europe. Therefore, again, small, cheap people's cars were needed. Volkswagen Beetle, Renault 4CV, Citroen 2CV, Fiat 500 makes the European people's car owner. Austin's domestic competitor Morris had already put the Morris Minor, the people's car of the new era, on sale in 1948. Following the same strategy, the Austin people's car of the new era, the Austin A30, went on sale in 1951. The small car had only an 800cc engine. Having sold 223,000 units in 5 years, the A30 achieves a significant success. There was a great rivalry between Austin and Morris before the war. DEC, two manufacturers, produce Opel models under the ownership of Ford and General Motors, which manufacture in the UK instead of competing with the manufacturer Vauxhall. They were more focused on the competition between themselves. DEC, they were bringing... He also started participating in Monte Carlo Rally races in the 1960s with BMC Mini. Although there is not much chance of winning with 35 horsepower, while other vehicles are skidding on icy, muddy roads, it performs very well thanks to its front-wheel drive and very good handling. After this performance, British racing legend John Cooper sees great potential in the Mini. John Cooper was producing Formula One tools in a small workshop with his father. Cooper, who had to use a motorcycle engine because their capital was insufficient. Because it is the most convenient method, it places the engine behind the cockpit. At that time, all manufacturers were placing the engine in the front. It turns out that the vehicle comes out with a formula whose handling is much better. While Cooper won 16 Grand Prix races in the 1950s, he won back-to-back world championships in 1959-60. When Cooper dominates the races with this revolutionary system, other manufacturers are also forced to make their vehicles with a rear engine. So Cooper changes the date of Formula One. John was also a friend of Alec Isagonis, the creator of the Mini. Cooper, impressed by the performance of the car, he convinces Alec that he can make the car win rallies. John increases the Mini's 850cc engine to 1071cc. Impressively, the power increases from 35 horsepower to 70 horsepower. The car is called the Mini Cooper. The car won the Monte Carlo Rally in 1964, 65, and 67. In 65 and 66, he won the European Rally Championship. The Mini Cooper that literally dominated the races in the 1960s, it shows the whole world that you don't need hundreds of horses to win. Other teams, after the success of the Mini Cooper, he tends to develop cars such as Mini. In the 1960s, the streets of England were filled with Minis. It was possible to do everything in this small vehicle. Like lower-class people, upper-class people also owned a Mini. Legends such as Steve McQueen and Enzo Ferrari, when they owned a Mini, movie stars and singers of the era, also used Minis. In other words, Mini had managed to become one of the few cult models in automotive history. The success of the Mini had opened it on the borders of England. The vehicle is also being assembled in Spain, Portugal, Belgium, South Africa, and New Zealand. It comes out of the 2 millionth Mini production ban in 1969 and the 3 millionth Mini production ban in 1972. Undoubtedly, no one had predicted such a success. The design of the Mini also affects other manufacturers. When Honda put the Honda E360 on sale, inspired by the Mini in 1967, the Italian manufacturer Fiat is also inspired by the Mini in the Fiat 127. Although the Mini's sales were going very well, it was quite bad for BMC in terms of advertising and cost execution. In the 1960s, competition had also increased in the same segment. In addition to Ford, Fiat, Renault, and Volkswagen also had strong sales in the UK Sunday. Although the Mini looks like a simple car, the production stages were quite difficult. In addition, the Mini segment was not a profitable segment either. Analyzing the success of the Mini, Ford concludes that BMC makes a loss of €30 for every Mini it sells. The poorly produced BMC in the mid-1960s comes to the brink of Batman. In 1968, through the British government, BMC and Leyland Motors, which manufactured trucks and buses, merged. The name of the new partnership becomes British Leyland Motor Corporation. The roles were under the ownership of Leyland Motors, while Jaguar was under the ownership of BMC. British Leyland becomes the fifth largest manufacturer in the world, after Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, and Volkswagen. In the 1970s, Mini's sales continued to go well. British Leyland now thinks that the Mini's design needs to be updated. Many prototypes are produced by working with design companies from the inside. However, the company is not convinced that any model can replace the best-selling Mini, because changing a best-selling model carried a big risk. If there is no correct model, it would be inevitable to sink due to project and production maniacs. He had the same problem at Volkswagen in the same years. He was failing to develop a model that could replace the Beetle, the world's best-selling car. In addition, many models of British Leyland on sale, such as Marina, Allegro, Princess, it was sold under Austin, Morris, and Volkswagen and competed in the same Sunday. That was one of the biggest mistakes. In addition, the company had spent serious money on new concept models. In 1973, when oil was added to the economic depression experienced due to credit, British Leyland came to the brink of sinking. The British government, which wants to prevent the wave of unemployment, will not allow British Leyland to go under. Now the company had no choice but to replace the Mini, which fell on sales. The Super Mini Sunday in Europe was dominated by hatchback models such as Volkswagen Polo, Ford Fiesta, Renault 5, Fiat 127, and Vauxhall Chevette. British Leyland also works on this kind of model. Eventually, the Austin Mini Metro, which replaced the Mini in 1980, goes on sale. On the one hand, the production of the Mini continues, as the demand is still continuing, even before the year 2000. For exactly 40 years, the Mini continues to be sold with the same design. By 2000, 5.3 million Minis had been sold. While British Leyland's horse is being changed to Rover Group, financial problems do not let go of the company. In 1994, BMW Rover bought the group. BMW's first plan would be to put the Mini on sale with a new version to suit the new millennium. Rover 3 presents the design to BMW at the time. BMW's design team also prepares design alternatives. As a result, BMW chooses its own design, and in 2000, after a decrepitude of 40 years, the new Mini goes on sale. Preserving the iconic design of the vehicle with this retro design at the same time, BMW, which gives a modern image, manages to do what BMC has not been able to do for 40 years. It becomes a more performance car with 1.4 and 1.6-liter engine options. When BMW launches the new Mini for sale under the Mini brand, the name of the vehicle is Mini Cooper. The new model is very liked by Mini fans. The car was named Car of the Year in North America in 2003. While Mini Cooper was selling 150,000 units annually, BMW was quite satisfied with the situation. By 2012, 2.5 million Mini Cooper were sold. The Mini that came out of BMW's hands was no longer a simple, cheap, fuel-efficient car. It was an expensive car, with high-performance, luxurious equipment. After 2012, Mini's annual sales figures will increase to over 300,000 units. The variety is increased with the Mini Countryman and Clubman, which are longer than the standard Mini. It will also go on sale in an electric Mini in 2019. Thanks to BMW, Mini Premium becomes a small car brand. Thanks for watching, my beautiful followers.